Hello and welcome back to Overbooked. I'm Amanda and today we're going to be doing my November wrap up and it is Bookmas / vlogmas day 2. Let's do it. I hope this is cool that I'm using my wrap up videos as a prompt for this Bookmas thing, but I think it's cool, whatever. I'll be also doing my December TBR video as one of these videos, so here we go. The first book that I read in November was Sunset Beach by Mary Kate Andrews. So I read this for a book club that I do with some ladies in my family. I think it was like a fun little read. I did not enjoy it. I didn't rate it very highly. I didn't speak of it very highly at our book club. I think it was written for what it was meant to be, which is, you know, like a fluff book to read on the beach and, you know, to do whatever. It's really not a book I would ever really pick up. I think it's not meant to be winning any literary prizes or shock the world, so that's that. I did have a lot of problems with it though for being like a fluff piece, because it's not that I don't enjoy, you know, fluff books. I don't mind a book that I'm like, oh, well, this doesn't really have like a meaningful story behind it. Like, that's fine that it didn't have that. There was just a lot of things that I just didn't really enjoy about it. I felt like the author didn't do a lot of research in what she was kind of really talking about. The book centers around this woman who is in her late 30s, and she moves to her dad's town after her mom dies and moves into this house that her grandparents owned because she inherited it. And she works for her dad's law firm, and she tries to solve this like old case while there's also another old case happening in the background. It's just weird. There's a lot of plots happening at the same time, but the area that she's working in is very low income, and there's a lot of people of color that are involved in this like crime that took place. And I don't think that she was highly sensitive to the characters that she was writing. And she was a white woman, and when I read it, it didn't come off well. So I'm not saying that people can't tell stories about different people that aren't them or that don't look like them, but I'm just saying if you're gonna write a story and you're writing the voice of somebody that you are not, like, you don't surround yourself with every day, maybe do more info and more digging on it. It just came off very awkward, and I didn't like it, and it was very weird. So regardless, I didn't super enjoy this book. I wouldn't really recommend it to anybody. I probably rated it like 1 or 2 stars on Goodreads. It was a really fun book to trash. Like, I loved going into my book club and trashing this book. So there's that. So the next book I read was Fire in the Track by Roseanne Matello. I have a whole book review on this book, so maybe won't dive too much into it because you could always just go watch that video and I'll link it below. Fire in the Track is about the first women's Olympic team that participated in track and field, and their journey and some of the women's story. It really focuses around Betty Robinson because she's the first woman to win gold in track and field, and her crazy like misfortune and comeback, how she gets into a plane crash, she's deemed to not walk again, and then she participates in the Olympics after 8 years of really intense training. So it was a really, really cool book because I didn't really know anything about that time or that journey of Olympic women. I really actually don't know a lot about the Olympics, and I don't really follow a lot of Olympic athletes. So it was really cool, and it made me really interested to know more and maybe to read more about women who participate in the Olympics, because I think it's such a great thing to do. Like, women in sports, I think, is so overlooked. Like, I think we forget how able and strong our bodies can be, and seeing other women participate in sports and, you know, showing off their strength is so empowering and reminds me that I have that same strength and I can do that. Maybe obviously not to the same caliber or level as they do, but everyone can go for a run or work out who are physically able, and it's just really cool to see and read, honestly. So I think a thing that I will try to be on the lookout for is more books dealing with women in sports. And I got a lot of great feedback on my video. I think her name is Alex. Gave me some really great recommendations that I'll be looking into for more reading into females in sport. So that was great. But I do recommend this book. I think it was too short. I think there should have been more deep diving. I don't think the writing was awesome, but I think it was a nice book a nice short read to dive into a chapter in history that I think a lot of us don't really know about. Next book is Three Women by Lisa Dodo. I have I did a whole book review on this book, so I will link that below as well. I really enjoyed this book after I first read it, and I really thought it was amazing. But I think that the longer I sat with it and the longer I just kind of thought about it, I really didn't enjoy it as much. I think it was really fast-paced and it was really interesting to read. So don't get me wrong on that. It was fascinating to read. But I think the whole, my expectation of the book didn't get met. And that was kind of disappointing. It's a book that centers around three women and goes into a deep dive of their sexual lives and, explores what they desire and how they are getting that desire or they're not. And, there's one, her name is Maggie, and she is in a sexual relationship with her teacher. And there's Lena, and she's in a relationship with her husband, and he doesn't like to kiss her or touch her. And so she goes and has an affair with one of her high school sweethearts. And then there's Salone, and her husband likes watching her have sex with other men, or just hearing about it, or hear about her retell it. And she's into it as well because she thinks, she knows that he likes it. But the thing about all of these women is I don't know if they're doing things because for themselves. So for Salone, I don't know if she's really doing it for herself. I think she's just doing it to please her husband. Maggie obviously is really being controlled by the older man in her life. I don't think she's really seeking things that she really wants. And I think Lena is just trying to get attention from anywhere because she's not getting it at home. And it's just not really a super empowering book that I wanted to read. I would really like to see a book about three women who are in control of their sexual lives, are getting what they want, are getting what they desire, and in a healthy way. I understand that probably is not the most interesting material maybe to read, but that's kind of what I would really like to read about. So, because I think we don't get to see that a lot depicted in media about women controlling their sexual lives and getting exactly what they want. So that's what I would want. I also think that there was a really big lack of diversity. All three women are white. Our straight Salone says that she doesn't mind hanging out with chicks, but it's not like she's coming out and telling us that she's both. She doesn't identify herself as bi or queer or anything, so she's, I assume, straight. And it's just, you don't get a ton of different stories. So, and they're all, two of them are from the same region, and I really would like a more spread out, different looks of different women. I just really ranted about this a lot, but if you want a whole 20-minute rant on the book, go to my video and check it out. Next book is called Once Upon a River by Deanne Setterfeld. I just finished this a couple days ago, and I was supposed to read this for a book club that I actually couldn't make it to. My job has been a little hectic, so I got off really late, and I just was tired. And I didn't finish the book, so I just didn't make it. But this book was interesting. I will say it's better than Sunset Beach. This book was crazy. So it's about this girl that is found in the river, and she's presumed dead, but she comes back to life, And there are 3 different like possibilities of who this little girl could be. And the whole book, you're trying to figure out what is the identity of this girl. And you go through the different groups of people. So one group of people think it's the daughter of these 2 very wealthy people. They lost their daughter 2 years ago, so their daughter would be the same age as this little girl who's 4, and she looks about the same, and so they insist it's their daughter, and they take her in. Another man thinks it's his daughter, who he has been missing for a couple weeks, and it's 4, and then another woman thinks it's her sister. So it's kind of a crazy tale, and it takes place, I don't really know what year it takes place, but it takes place like Pheasants and King's time, and I believe it's in England because it's by the Thames River, I think. It was a really interesting book. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I really would pick it up myself or would want to read it again. The main reason why I finished this book was because I wanted to know who the hell this girl was. And it is a really cool story. I don't know if it's like really it wasn't really a book for me. I didn't super enjoy it. I literally only kept going because I wanted to know the answer. There is a lot of rich writing though. There's a lot of awesome like character development for as many characters that there are. So it's excellent writing. It's an excellent story. The story is just, I don't think, my cup of tea. It just like really wasn't for me. I don't really like fantasy or like magic, and so I just would never have picked this up myself. But that being said, I will tell you, it is a really good book, and if you like that kind of stuff and those themes, I would highly recommend it because it was very, very well written, and it was a really good book. And I'm actually really glad that my book club picked it out and that I had the chance to read it because, like I said, I don't think I ever would have ventured out and picked this up myself. Okay, so last book, and I know it doesn't probably really count, but I will finish it today. So I'm including it in this November wrap-up, even though it's December 1st. I know this is my second video. It's called Over the Top by Jonathan Van Ness, and it is his memoir, and I am like halfway through, and it's a really quick read. I was reading it yesterday on the way home from our Thanksgiving trip, so I think it's really good. It's really insightful, and I think it's actually a little better than the writing that I read in Karamo, so it's a lot easier to read and get through, so I think I will finish it. But it's a really, really sweet read, and I might just do a book review on it, so look out for that. That was my November wrap-up, and my second day of Bookmas/vlogmas, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So remember to click that like button down below and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Let's do it. Woo!